Let's walk through setting up the CSV import, and we'll go through the entire configuration together. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Install Now from Oasis, and it's going to pop up with a prerequisite telling me that this tool supports CSV files only. I'm going to go ahead and click Continue. There's 3 steps to this process. The first step is selecting a connection to the QuickBase app that I want to import into. So I want to import into my Ryan Haas training QuickBase application here. So in order to set up this tool, I need a connection that points to that QuickBase application. Now, if I didn't know what a connection was, or I needed some help, there's a help video over on the right here. It's going to walk you through how to get everything you need to create a connection, your user token, your application token, your DB ID, all of those things. It's going to walk you through all of that information so you can set up a brand new connection if you don't have one. I already have a connection here, Ryan Haas test app, that points to that QuickBase application I want to import into. So I'm going to go ahead and click Use this connection. This is going to take me to the second step in the configuration process, which is mapping my QuickBase fields and tables to this plugin. There's also some general settings that I can control in here for the actual user interface that I'm going to be importing from. So in here I can give it a title. So this title it's actually going to show in the user interface when you're importing a CSV document. So since I'm going to be importing project tasks, I think a name of project tasks import. Maybe I say it's a monthly import. I can also give it a logo or an image URL, and this is going to be a way to brand it for a particular company. So I'm going to use my MCF Tech logo here. It's got a transparent background with a white logo on it. So I'm going to paste that URL in here, and I can pick a background color for the UI. I think black would look good with this particular logo, so I'm going to go ahead and leave it as black. You can come in here and you can change the color if you wanted to. I'm going to move down to the second section here, and this section is what table do I want to import into my QuickBase application. So if I go over to my QuickBase application, and I'll blow this up a little bit so it's a little easier to see, I'm importing into my project tasks table. So in this drop down, I want to select my project task table from QuickBase. The second step is I need to select a merge field. And so this is optional. In a merge field in QuickBase, let me explain this really quick. So I'll bring up the CSV document I'm going to be using here. So this is my import that I'm going to be doing on a monthly basis. I've got a start date, end date, rate, task name, effort, details. If I go over to my QuickBase application, you can see I've got the start date, end date, task name, effort, and details in here. Now, what a merge field allows us to do is right now if I did this import into QuickBase, every time I imported this, it's going to add new records for each of these rows in my CSV document. So every time I import, it's just going to keep adding more and more rows. So if I imported this particular CSV document 4 times, well, it's going to iterate over these records and add these records each time I import it. I can also add a merge field in here. So I could say, maybe I'd call it ID. And this is a unique identifier for my different tasks. So I could call this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this one uniquely identifies this row in my data. Now what I could also do is come into QuickBase and I can create a new field called ID. So I would call it ID and I would give it, let's say, a numeric value. There's one extra step that I need to do to make sure that this is a merge field in QuickBase. I need to come in and click must be unique after this field is created. So once I've done that and I click save, what's going to happen is each time I import this document, if I have this ID identifier on it in my CSV, it's going to say, okay, does a project task in QuickBase exist with a ID of 1? If it does, go ahead and update that information on that record in QuickBase. If it isn't found in QuickBase, so if I can't find a project task with an ID of 1 in QuickBase, it's going to go ahead and create a new project task within QuickBase. So it's a way to control, uniquely that I should add or update certain records in QuickBase. So for this setup, I'm not going to have a merge field. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this from my document. Now I'm going to go ahead and delete this field from QuickBase. But I just wanted to walk through that real quick with you so you knew going through this configuration what that related to. So if I wanted a merge field, I could go ahead and click this drop down and I could select ID. Since I don't have a merge field in my CSV, I'm going to skip this field here and move on to the last section. So this last section is mapping my CSV columns to the QuickBase fields that I want to import into. Now, in order to do this, there's a tool built into Oasis to find IDs quickly, because we're going to have to find some FIDs for the QuickBase fields. So if I go up to the top, I can click this, click to find QuickBase IDs, and when I click that, it's going to open up this at the bottom here. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to first populate all of the columns that I need from my CSV document. So I'm going to open this up and I'm going to count the columns. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 it looks like. So then I need to come in here, and actually I'm not going to import the rate right here. So I'm going to ignore that. So I'm going to say I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 columns. So right now I've only got one column to work with, so I'm going to add 4 more. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if I scroll down, I can see, okay, now I've got the 5 columns I need that are in my CSV. And now what I want to do is I'm going to go ahead and fill in the column name for each one of these columns that I just created over in Oasis. So I'm going to say, okay, the column name, I like to go directly to the CSV document and copy the header for each one of these, and then come in here and paste it, just so I know that the exact header that's in my CSV document is being put into the mapping in here, because this tool relies on these column headers to find the necessary data. So I'm going to make sure that these are exactly the same for each one, so I'm going to copy and paste them in. So end date we have done here. Let's do task name. Go ahead and copy this one. Okay, the next one is effort. Let's go ahead and copy that over. And the last one we have is details. I'm going to go ahead and copy that. Okay, so now I've got all the column CSV headers in here. Now I need to tell it, okay, for the start date, what field should I map this to in QuickBase? So I need an FID for that field. So an FID is a unique identifier for a QuickBase field. So this pop-up that we pulled up a little earlier is going to allow us to find this very quickly. So I'm going to go ahead and select my application that I'm importing into here, and then I'm going to find the table that I want to import into, which is the project task table. And now I can search through all of the fields in the project tasks table. So the first one I need is a start date. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the start date field here. When I click on it, it's going to automatically copy the FID for that field to my clipboard. Now, if you're on a touch device or something, you can also see the FID right here. So it's saying the start date ID is 6. This field type is a date field in QuickBase. So the ID is 6. I've got it copied to my clipboard, so I'm going to click Control+V on my keyboard to paste it in here. Now I'm going to go to the end date, so I've got to go find the end date. I'm going to find the end date. It's going to copy it to my clipboard. I'll paste it in here. Task name. Let's find that. Click that. It's going to copy it to my clipboard. Effort. Let's click that. Paste. And then finally our details. Okay. So I've got all of the columns filled out now. I'm going to go ahead and click Save and Continue. And the last step of this process is just filling out a subscription name. So this is just for my reference purposes. I'm going to call this, let's say, CSV Importer Demo. Billing frequency, I'm going to do a monthly. I agree to the terms of service, and then I'm going to click Submit. So I've successfully subscribed to the CSV Importer. The last step of this process is I need to install the Launch Plugin button into my QuickBase application. So I need a way to launch this tool from QuickBase. So I'm going to click this right here. I'm going to click Install. It went ahead and installed a button into my QuickBase table. And it gives me a link here where I can go view that button. So I'm going to go ahead and open that up and see this button that was created in my QuickBase app. I'm going to scroll down, and I'm going to change a couple of things for this button. I'm going to say, let's copy this, and let's name the link text in here. So Launch CSV Importer. I want to display this as a button on my forms and reports in QuickBase. I want to give it a dark blue color to make it stand out. And when I click it, I want to open it in a new window. And I think that looks good. I'm going to click Save. So now let's go back over to my Ryan Haas training application. I'm in the project task table. I just added that field into this table in QuickBase. So if I refresh, I can see, okay, I've got the launch CSV importer now. I can go ahead and launch it, start using this tool, start pulling in CSV files into this tool. And let me open it up just so you can see the user interface. So you can see here, I've got the MCF Tech logo here. I've got the title that I had set up to begin with. So project tasks, monthly import. And this is where I can choose a file. So looks like everything's set up. If I wanted to go edit configurations once I'm done, so maybe I didn't like the background color, I didn't like certain things about it, I can go into the My Plugins area. I should be able to see the CSV plugin that I just subscribed to. I can go ahead and click the Edit Configuration here, and it's going to walk me back through that process where I can go edit this configuration again. I can change certain settings. But that's the installation setup from beginning to end. If you need more help, there's help videos in the My Plugins area within QuickBase. So you can come in here. You can click on the help icons over here, and there'll be a little bit of documentation and user manual that you can download within here too. So if you want help on actually using the tool, go ahead and check that out once you're done with the installation.